G'day friends and welcome to another one of my videos. Today I'm pulling out the DJI Osmo Pocket out of the camera bag. It's been feeling a little bit neglected. I've been using other devices in place of what I had intended this guy for. But I've bought him a couple of accessories and I think he's going to be very popular yet again. So if you want to find out what accessories I purchased for this guy to make him the top of the pops again, well then stick around.
Eres perfecta mujer, de la cabeza a los pies. Tú pasas de mi nivel, tú tienes el piquete. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. Eres perfecta mujer, de la cabeza a los pies. Tú pasas de mi nivel, tú tienes el piquete. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. Amarte es mi maña, que lo que toca mi mano se dañan. Pero amor es lo que dicen, como un color entre los grises. Yo nunca te fallé, tú no eres cualquiera. Tú eres la mujer, mi corazón anhela. Pasan por ahí todas esas poses que tú conoces. Gracias a mi mujer, ni tu amigo, pero en vivo solo contigo disfruto el show, bebé. Alright, cita, dime pa' dónde vas, que yo te caigo donde sea. Eres perfecta mujer, de la cabeza a los pies. Tú pasas de mi nivel, tú tienes el piquete. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. De la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami. Eres perfecta.
And welcome back. Now when I bought the DJI Osmo Pocket, I had big plans for it. I was going to use it as my secondary vlogging camera and I was going to put it in my bag and not worry about taking a lot of kit to do some vlogging if I was out and about. But the problem is that he had a couple of deficiencies. First of all, it was just way too close. The actual zoom factor on your face meant that you really had to put it on some kind of pole, or you had to stretch out your hand, or else, you know, there was just going to be too much on my big head on the screen. The other issue that I found too was that the sound really wasn't the best, and there was, you know, a lot to be desired. It wasn't bad, but it just picked up too much of the, you know, surrounding sound, and it just made it a big jumbled mess of noise every time I played back the footage. And lastly, the other thing that I kind of made me a little bit disappointed with it was the fact that the menu was just so small. I didn't want to have it docked to my phone all the time because it just made it a bigger device. I wanted something nice and compact, but so I can see at arm's length without having to connect it to all these peripherals. So I found a couple of things that have made a big difference. The first accessory I found was the Osmo Pocket extension rod. Now, this may seem like just any other ordinary extension pod, but I was really impressed by, first of all, the quality, and second of all, the functionality of it. Now, I had played around with a lot of other extension poles, including the original Osmo's extension pole. Now, that one just wasn't working well enough because of the way that the Osmo Pocket is designed. I just couldn't use the old Osmo accessories, so I had to put that aside. So this particular pole is quite cool. So first of all, it's got a nice grip where you can actually hold it and there's no problems sort of hanging onto it. I love it. It's, you know, really nice and grippy. Now, the other great thing about it, obviously it's got a dedicated Osmo dock. Now what happens here is that the Osmo Pocket goes here, and then obviously we can play around with the angle to make sure that, you know, it sort of sits at the right angle. And of course, it wouldn't be called an extension pod if it didn't extend. Now, that's around 1 meter, so it's, you know, pretty good length. So I'm pretty happy with that. The great thing about it is that the head of the actual is nice and fixed. There's a bit of movement to actually tip the angle, but there's no other movement there, so it keeps it nice and steady. And when it retracts, it fits there nice and neatly, and then you can just sort of easily put it in there. Now, the other great thing about this is that it has a menu and an iPhone holder. It has the commands, the same commands that you have on the Osmo Pocket. So it's got the little joystick to steer the camera. It's got a record button. It's got two function buttons, and then it's got a mode button, which can flip the camera over to selfie mode and flip it over to, obviously facing outwards. And it has an extra button that's programmable that you can use for other purposes. So that really sort of impressed me because it has everything that I needed on it. The great thing about it is that once you have the Osmo Pocket docked in there, you don't need a battery. This is given power by the Osmo Pockets, and so you don't need to charge this. You don't need any extra batteries, and it's very functional. When you want to pack it away, you just close down the lid there. The other one is this USB-C to 3.5 millimeter adapter. Now, this goes on the bottom of the actual Osmo Pocket, and you can attach a microphone. So you can use anything that doesn't require phantom power. So something like the Rode Video Micro. I'm going to put this together and I'm going to show you how functional this is once the Osmo and this is plugged into the extension rod. So let's have a look how that sort of all comes together. Now here we have configuration number 1, which I call my vlogging configuration. So as you can see, I've got the Osmo Pocket, I've got the Rode Wireless Go connected into the 3.5 millimeter to USB-C jack that goes into the bottom, and of course I've got my extension rod. Now the great thing about this is that I can extend it as far as I want to, and there's no interference with the cable. The cable itself remains nice and safe and nothing really gets in the way. Now when I extend this out in full and switch it to actually selfie mode or vlogging mode, the face detect works really well, and so the camera always keeps you in focus and in the center of the frame, which is really cool. Now as you can see, I have not attached the phone because I'm more worried about the sound and what I'm capturing, so not so much about the image, because I know that the autofocus is doing a fantastic job. Now all the buttons obviously work independently of the Osmo Pocket, and then I can actually just control it totally from the handle here, which is pretty good. Now let me show you configuration 2. Now configuration 2 is for capturing B-roll. So what I've got here is the Osmo Pocket, and I'm using a USB-C to Lightning cable from Apple that's going straight into my iPhone. Now when the phone is connected to the Osmo Pocket using cable, the Mimo app, the DJI Mimo app, works instantaneously. It automatically detects the device. You don't have to worry about wireless and things like that. So it is pretty good. I actually like this setup because it has the bigger screen, and when I'm doing B-roll, I'm not really concerned about sound. It's because I'm doing either a hyperlapse, a time lapse, we're doing some slow-mo, and so it really doesn't worry me that the sound itself is not connected to this device. If you really want something, the Osmo is still using its own microphone to actually capture the sound if you're really desperate. But this is configuration number 2, which is for capturing B-roll. All in all, I'm pretty content with my investment into these accessories. So I've got my 3.5 millimeter jack that helps me out with sound. It connects with the Cole shoe here into the Rode Wireless Go and then directly into the Osmo Pocket. Then I've got my vlogging sorted out. Now this pole extends far enough in order to get it away from my big head so I don't scare you when I do some vlogging using this device. And I've got all the controls that I need in the actual grip here, which is very functional and versatile. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. New little toys to help you pull out the DJI Osmo Pocket from the bag, and hopefully you can get more use out of it. It's still a very powerful little device, and with the right accessories, it just makes it even better. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like if you liked it, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Your support does help, and until the next time, ciao for now.
Tú pasas de mi nivel, tú tienes el piquete, de la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami, de la forma que tú besas, mami, más simétrica que un origami.